Hey, how's it going, everybody? I just wanted to do a video today while I was doing a little bit of my sketching. Here, let me get rid of that screen. You don't need to see that. And just talk a little bit about some style that I'll be trying to go towards. Maybe we'll drift into some, what's been going on and all that stuff. But this is just for you guys here on Patreon. I wanted to put that out there as well. I'm not really going to be streaming much. The art that I've been doing lately has just been for private use, just trying to develop my own stuff. I've posted some stuff from time to time. I've shared it here on Patreon as well. But I specifically want to start pushing more towards Patreon. You guys deserve it. You guys have been supporting me for so long. If you're new to Patreon, thank you. If you've been here for the long haul, thank you, extra special. But I would like to start doing more content specifically for you guys. So this video, you guys can see the link should just be private. So if you guys are watching it, you should be watching it through Patreon or however else you got it. Cool. But going forward, I'd like to do a little bit more of this. Real quick to describe what I'm doing, so you guys can see it. I highly recommend doing this. I've done this a very long time, maybe 10 to 15 years going on that now. Whenever I'm trying to adjust my style to a new artist, or maybe not a new artist, but you know how there's certain things you see that other artists do that get you excited and get you wanting to draw. And I'm going to show you sort of what I'm doing in developing this style as well going forward. And you guys can totally use it with what you're doing. I'm going to do this with two more characters, and I'll show you how. And then I'm just going to quickly put a shadow pass, and then I'll post this image here on what's it called? On Patreon as well. It might be two posts. I'm not quite sure how Patreon handles it. I don't think you can do multiple media in a post. Anyway, so the artist here, let me just turn this off. The artist here that I'm going to be checking out is Toru Nakayama. I believe that's how you say his name. This is where I first came across his art. It was a video game called Mega Man Zero. I love his style. I love it. Let me just go through some of these different images, just so you guys can kind of see. I'm not quite sure. I don't think this is him, but the vein, the style of it is still pretty similar. What I like about it is the big blown out proportions. The anime faces, I'm still not 100% sure. I don't think I'll go this far with the face. I'm not sure. If you guys remember some of the other projects that I was doing, or that I intended to start but never really went anywhere, there was like the little Power Ranger style comic. But I enjoyed not necessarily like a full chibi, but the look of like the big head with the bigger muscular muscle bodies and stuff. If you guys scroll down, you guys will see some of the other stuff that I've been doing recently with that. So what I do is I just go on the internet or take pictures through an art book, wherever. It doesn't matter who you're looking at. And what I'm going to do is I just put a little transparency layer over top of it. And if I turn these off, I'm just trying to find the shapes. Now, the reason why I do this and why I recommend doing it, and if you guys remember, I've tried to say this very much throughout posting videos on YouTube and stuff, is that this is the fundamentals, understanding how anatomy works, all that's great, but the importance of understanding how a circle and a square and a triangle and those kinds of shapes move in 3D space is super important, because if you can figure that out, you can break anything down into this, and it's very true. But what this does is, if you look at this, there's a lot of noise. I can see where the legs are going, and I can kind of see, I have a feeling towards it, but there's a lot of noise because there's a lot of design and there's beauty here, right? As soon as you break it down into this, it's pure structure. But what it tells me is, like, I can start making some measurements. Like, these aren't all going to be, it's an artist that was just drawing for whatever they were drawing, right? Just for fun or for a client or whatever. So they have their own style and their shorthand and stuff. But you can see right away, like, the size of the head compared to the torso and the hips. And, you can see sometimes, like, even in this one down here, the legs, they get real big, but they don't all follow a structure, follow, like, the same kind of structure. Sometimes the thigh, like right here, is super short and then it gets long, and it's all over the place. But it gives me a great foundation to apply this in, add other spices to it, my own stuff included, to get to something that's me, but is influenced by. And this is a great way to get yourself drawing if you haven't even drawn in a while. If you want to learn how to draw, like Jim Lee and stuff, all of this totally works, and you can kind of see it's sort of like reverse engineering what they're doing. So, without further ado, let's shut up and let's start drawing here. So I usually start with the head. But okay, so let's sort of talk about why draw like this if I've been drawing in a certain vein, we'll say, for so long. And the reality of it is, it's just become super boring. I enjoy coloring and the simple art and speed. To be honest with you, uh, the days of going to work and then coming home to work on like Jessup King or other projects I was working on, they're not over, but just too much time. Just spent too much time to for me to get like a certain return out of it, and that return was possibly getting a job doing comics or whatever, stuff I've told you guys about a bajillion times before. And that goal has sort of, well, hasn't sort of, it's really gone now. I'm not really interested in pursuing that anymore. I'll be straight and honest with you guys. I'm not even sure if I want to do comics anymore, right? Illustration for sure. I enjoy drawing, I enjoy creating the worlds and all that stuff, but drawing a character, and I think a lot of people start this way too. A lot of people like drawing characters, work characters. You can see yourself in it, and there's a lot of reasons why people gravitate towards that. Myself, it's like again, it plays into the whole time thing. Go to work, come home, and I could still bust out a character sketch and still have my night to do other things. But that started making me ask other questions, right? Like, if I don't want to be drawing in my spare time, why is that? If this is something that I'm really passionate about, like just drawing in general, why wouldn't you want to always be doing this? And there is an argument to be made for hobbies and doing other things that aren't art, and I agree, you should have those. But if the idea of drawing is work, let me back up and correct that. I think if the idea of drawing is generally more lopsided in the direction of work than this is relaxing, you're gonna burn out. Trust me on that. You're gonna burn out, and things aren't like your reason why of doing it isn't in a place of passion or interest. It's more of a like a goal. Like I could get a job doing this with this company if I put in the hours and make a comic book, or if I were to work for Marvel or DC. And I only use them as an example because I think most people, or a lot of people, use them as sort of like a stake in the ground, as a level of accolade or something. Like that is the goal, is or a goal to work for those companies. And if that's your goal or whatever, I'm never gonna poo poo on any of that. Do whatever you can to get your goal for sure. But I crashed and burned still, and I'm still feeling it from October. Just things got weird. I just started questioning a lot of why was I doing what I was doing, because I have a good job, all that good stuff. But now the question that's coming into play, which is actually really really important, is I'm not really happy at my job. And the reason for that, and I'm sure most of you guys hear this, and if you're not working, maybe you're at home and you'd like to be working and drawing and all that kind of stuff, or whatever it is for you. But at my job or whatever, it's safe, it's comfortable, all that good stuff. Well, that's not even really good, probably. Well, maybe it's good for some people, and it was good for me for a while, and I even sort of let myself believe it. It's safe, meaning I could go collect a check. I don't have to worry about me having to find work. That's my boss's problem. I just show up and he pays me. If there's no work that day, then it's an easy day for me. If you're working freelance or for yourself, those that means you're not getting paid and stuff. So I've scared myself out of doing a lot of pursuing in that direction. But what I had noticed in saying all of that as well is that a lot of the decisions were being driven off of fear for sure, but as well as getting into a really dangerous routine. And that routine was going to work, coming home, and I put in the hard day of work. Now I get to relax, and what I would do for relaxing is like playing a video game or or anything that's really not, I don't want to say productive, but isn't actually filling my. It's almost like I'm not doing the thing I feel like my purpose is, and that's drawing. And at my day job, I don't really draw that all like that often. I was heavily considering, but I don't want to like break any contracts that I've signed with the place I work at. The place I work at is awesome. People are great, but that's why I don't want to jeopardize anything that we're doing there or anything. But I wanted to show you guys sort of like what I do day in day out, just for context of where my discussion's going. And generally, what I do every day is what I could call UI design. It's more graphic design than anything else. So if you ever play a video game, and actually, here, let's do this. I hope nothing spicy comes up here. Okay, sometimes the boobies show up on my Pinterest. All right, let's see what we got here. So let's type game menu UI, just to give you guys like a little look at what I'm mostly doing. So if you look at this, this is what I do pretty much all day long. Very rarely do I get to draw. I would say maybe 5% of my job is drawing. And for a long time, like I got some really cool stuff out of it. You look at this and I started to learn how to do, colors and color theory and that stuff a lot better. How to get your eye to focus. Like, see how collect is popped out? I don't know if that's showing up. Let me zoom out like that. But this is primarily what I do, and this is, and to be honest with you guys, it's absolutely killing me. And that's why I wanted to even record today, just to talk about it with you guys. And I think we're gonna do a little bit of this sort of journaling thing. So if you guys are interested in this, leave a little comment below. If not, that's totally fine. I'm still gonna do this and share with you guys sort of like what's going on. Yeah. So that's it. It just feels like it's killing me. I'm sure many of you feel that way. Whatever you're doing, it might be killing you as well, creatively. Today as an example, I got up out of my desk and I just left the building. I just left the building and I was like, I got to get out of here for like a couple minutes. I'm just not. I'm not here. I'm not in the right headspace. And I know what's causing that is the realization that, not in a conceited or nose up in the air kind of way, but I just want to draw. And a fair air argument that I sort of in my head today in the last little while is, for me to be genuinely happy, I need to be drawing. And if I could draw my own stuff and get paid for it, I'm in that boat where, hell yeah, sign me up. But I realize, and I've always realized, that that's a very it's a lofty goal. That takes some serious time and commitment and all that. But in the meantime, if I was to compare what's going on, right, just drawing in general, to me is a lot more exciting, or at least artistically challenging. Like, I don't even feel artistically challenged at work. Um, and I realize this sounds like a lot of bitching, so I hope you guys just I hope that me just venting comes across here. And I encourage discussion. So I'd love to know your guys' day jobs too and stuff, like, or whatever situation you're in. Like, what's it like for you? Like, what are you going through? What are you feeling all the time? But at work, yeah. So it just feels like, since I'm doing something that I really have no interest in doing, like, it's artistic and I'm learning stuff from it, but it's just not the benefits I get from it, such as benefits and the air quotes here steady income. They're just It's not enough anymore. And this could sound selfish, but I think I just got comfortable and lazy, and I lost the hunger for trying to, I don't know, just do something that makes me happy. Instead of, it's not just working for somebody else. It's not really that. It's again, like I say, the people I work with, they're great people. And and I don't know how many of them are going through the shit that I'm going through. Nobody really talks about that stuff. But I would have to imagine that there's some people that are probably in there as well. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble here, so let me just quickly, maybe we can kind of speed this up here. So we're gonna go there with that guy. What I'm doing here is, I just wanted to have this. This is like, again, like I said, I can look at this. Sorry, I have the allergies going on. I can look at this and put together, oh, so this is how this person draws. This is great. Lets me really understand what I need to be doing, or what I should be looking for when I try to apply this to what I'm doing, like my own style or my own characters and stuff. This one I think was a different person, so let's get that out of there. So this is a great reference thing. Now from here, what I would do, and like I said, just for fun, what I'm going let's get rid of that. I'm going to just quickly add like a shading thing to this. You wouldn't have to do this, but it just sometimes, or not sometimes, a lot of the time, art is supposed to be a lot of things, and it can be a lot of things, and it depends on who's asking what it is. For me, in this sort of stuff, I want to be excited by this style, I want to get turned on by looking at it and being like, yes, let's develop more into this and all that. So now that I have these sorts of things, what I can do and what I will do, I won't be doing it today with you guys here, but now that I have these blueprints, what I can do is take them and apply them to my own thing. You know, like make my own character based off of not necessarily just drawing over this, which I will do, but is also seeing how far I can push it or take it to to really make it my own. And once I do that for a little while, then I will start to find the next artist that gets me excited and do the same thing. Right now, what I'm trying to do is find like a layout here that I can put these guys in so they're not all bumping into each other. Ugh, the composition's all messed up. Anyway, doesn't matter. All right, so we'll get that, and we'll merge this down. And like I said, what I'm gonna do is I'll save this up. You guys can use all these, you know, whatever's in here. If you guys feel like checking this out, by all means, go ahead. So what I'll do is we can see this a little bit better. Let's go into like this dark red. Get there, and bring this up over here like that. Sorry for all the sniffles, you guys. Just super congested. All right, so let's go here. What I'm looking for is just closing these little dots. This takes, you know, like I say, this is just the icing on the cake. You don't need to do this if you're doing your own thing. Uh, I'm just trying to make it look exciting and cool when it's on its own. I don't know if you guys have ever saved images into like a folder on your desktop or anything, but after a while, you know, like everything starts getting samey. So I have found if I do something like this, just as simple as you'll see what this will end up looking like, it makes it just look a little bit more interesting than it would if I had just left it. So when I'm scrolling through, or maybe, you know, just I forget about this, hopefully my eye sort of sees it and goes, oh, what is that? Let me check that out again. Because usually what will happen is I'll be going through like a lot of these things. And I'll have a whole folder, or I'll make a little story or sketchbook or whatever in Clip Studio. Add them all as pages, and I can just flip through it almost like a little digital sketchbook. And just to be clear, a lot of this is not about being beautiful artwork at all. That's the polished stage you put on here, right? Like, this is all study. If you ever grabbed like a Loomis Bridgman or any kind of anatomy book, this is the sort of stuff I would recommend you do. This is where you gain a lot of mileage because you're breaking down the structure and the things that they had, and you can understand it a lot better. At least I hope you can. I found it to be the case. At the day job there, when coming from a guy who was drawing a lot of superheroes and I'll say like American style art. When I started working at iDream Interactive, there the style from the artist that was on previously before me was a lot of cartoony, cute stuff, and that just never really interested me. I left college, and the class I was taking in college was actually animation, and it just started to bore the living shit out of me, so I stopped. And then I got into drawing muscle men and all that kind of stuff. But when I started working there, it was like it was all transparency aside. I was working retail jobs, so the idea that I get to draw or work at a game studio, I mean, like, of course, it's better than EB Games or Dollarama that I was working at, So, I wanted to do anything I could to keep the job there, and I had to figure out ways to get cartoony, and I still haven't even got there. But I can tell you 100% is like, look what's happening now. I'm trying to get back to this because really the roots of me drawing are video game based, Capcom, all that stuff. Not really like superheroes and comic books. They were cool, but it was the video games. That's really what got me excited when I was younger. Um, and it wasn't until trying to get really serious about getting a job at Marvel that I had to get rid of, or I felt like I had to get rid of the anime influence. And because I was drawing Dragon Ball and all that stuff, I had to get rid of all of that to learn how to properly draw a figure. And the cost to that for me anyway. And this isn't the same for everybody, but the cost to me was losing what I'm doing right now. So it's funny. It feels like a full circle sort of thing. This feels to me like a lot more exciting than the stuff I used to do. And I still sketch from time to time, doing like the over rendering and the somewhat realistic kind of proportions and designs and stuff. It's fun. It's fun. But this to me is where I see myself going. This just has like a life to it that I'm just tired of seeing in my old stuff, if that makes sense. Okay, so I close all those lines. We're gonna make sure that all of our reference is being selected. So now you can see we're just going to be making a shape. And by doing the little work that we did there, I'm able to go in here and pick all these little like in between shapes. And theoretically, if we go invert, and we just fill, there we go. Right. So you can see where the interesting part's coming in, I hope. Right, you can just quickly see. And what I'm going to do is we're going to make a new layer. We're going to just bring it down, multiply. I'm going to pick a cool color. Maybe we'll go bright blue. I don't know how this is going to look. Whatever, we can always adjust it. And I'm just going super lame here. Let's grab yeah, let's do calligraphy. Get a big fat brush. This is just because I want to do something for speed, right? So the other thing I like to do with this is sometimes it's nice to just go in there and on somebody else's artwork, right? Sort of like figure out some shading. And this has nothing to do with the reference that I looked at, but it does help my eye see things a little bit different, right? Like the shape of stuff, and you never know when lighting gets mixed into stuff, you can get some interesting results. And it's almost like a couple two birds. I always now that I've said this one saying so many times in the wrong way, I keep screwing it up. If you guys ever watched Trailer Park Boys, it's instead of two birds. No, what is it? One stone, two birds. It's two bird stone. It's messed up. But anyway, whatever the right saying is, that's what I like doing with this too because it sort of I can quickly brush up on simple shading here. You know, it's a very quick example. Like you can see, I'm shading everything sort of the same way as if it's top lit. Maybe this one will shade from the top as if the light's from the bottom. Yeah, just makes it interesting, makes it fun. And you never know, right? Like these things, you can always come back to them and look at them and go, okay, yeah, I could do a character in that, not that style, but like that pose. You know, we could redraw over any of these things. Make some adjustments to it so we're not just totally swiping. Like the idea here is not to swipe, it's definitely to copy. You know, I had an argument in college once with somebody when I used to do this sort of stuff. Oh man, were they ever? Did they ever have a very strong opinion? This was like sacrilege. Like an artist, if you were a real artist, whatever the hell that means, uh, you would be able to draw this stuff on your own. Practice is what got you here. You wouldn't do something like this. Now, obviously, I have a different viewpoint on that, and you might not agree with it, which is totally fine. But I don't like spending a lot of time trying to make things perfect. If I can get in there and understand something quicker, I'd rather do that. And for me, that's what this was. This is a quick way to, or it can be quick. Everybody's different, right? But this can be a pretty quick way to break some form down or some style stuff and just understand it. You know, maybe we could do just like a straight down sort of shading here. You know, I'm kind of working with this calligraphy brush because, as you can see, it's only one angle, so I can't make anything too beautiful here. Sort of like you commit to a shape or a side and just throw it in. This one will do shade on the right. All right, that's it. Just some fun stuff. Actually, let's do this real quick before I take off. Let's just take a look at what some of these other colors look like. Yeah. think I like this. What if we get saturation way up? Let's see what red would look like. That's not bad. Bring that down a bit. Cool. Okay, well, anyway, thank you guys. I hope you guys, enjoyed whatever the hell this was. And if my rambling, gave you a little bit to think about. If anything, I would love to hear any kind of discussion with this stuff. So I do appreciate it. Leave your comments below if you guys had any and all that cool stuff. And again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all your support here on Patreon and everything you guys do. And even those of you that have reached out and have just kept in contact and stuff, I appreciate that. And if you haven't, that's totally cool. That's not what this or what I'm trying to say is about. I just wanted to say thank you and it be genuine. So I hope you guys enjoy this. You guys will get to see more of this. And you know what I would actually be interested in? Not that it's going to affect anything, but I'm curious. What do you guys think of the direction I'm going in with this? And the reason why I want to say it's not going to change anything, because I do think it's very dangerous to ask the question I just asked, because when people, it's not their fault, but when they get the chance to voice an opinion and you listen to too many of those opinions, it starts to become one of those things where there's too many cooks in the kitchen. You got to be the head chef. You got to make the decisions and you got to go forward. But the curiosity is always there. I'm curious as to those that are interested in just seeing where this is going to go, where it could go, and hopefully what it could do for you. So I'm going to just retract. Please don't. Well, you can do what you want, but I'm not asking you guys to leave a comment about what you think of the style and all that stuff. I'll be doing more of these, like you'll see throughout probably this month, and then we'll be jumping into a couple other artists, and then from time to time you'll see some stuff put in there. I should actually here. Let me open this just to show you guys. I posted this on the weekend. This I had actually done traditional, and I had a blast doing it. There's a little bit of dinkies there, so some censored action right downtown, but you can see sort of the face. Like, to me, it's a little anime. There's some stuff going on here. I really love these lips. You usually see them like on cartoons with like black folk that got like the big lips and stuff like that. Regardless of that, there's eggplants in, where was the other one I saw? It was eggplants in, what's that game? Kid Icarus for like Nintendo. I love the way it looks. I like black people, white people. I don't care. This guy, I don't even know what color he is. But I love it. And what I was trying to do was just sort of play around with. I wonder if all the characters I designed, they could all have those big lips like that. Like it's such a cool looking design. I'm not looking at it as like some sort of weird racist aspect, because it has nothing to do with that. It's just a very simple, clean cartoon way of describing thicker lips, right? And hey, between you and I, who doesn't like thicker lips, right? All right. Big lips, they always look nice, right? So there you go. Anyway, you guys check that out there. I posted that a little earlier, but the style, you can see the body shape is a little bit like this, but now that I've looked at this direction, I could see where I could incorporate more of this into here, because his proportions are still very safe. He's got a big hand and a big head and stuff like that, but if you look at here what we were just doing, it's all a lot bigger. There's a lot more going on, and even the feet. Like, look how long these legs are compared to the torso. Almost like female proportions, to be honest, but this is a male. And then right here when we got to the female, it's odd. It's almost like they become more realistic and the head gets a little smaller. So I'm finding some cool stuff. But anyway, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to get out of your guys' ear. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. And I wish you all the best. Take care.